Is the ego a separate entity that works against us sometimes? And why do we separate the ego from ourselves? We are going to have a lot of disagreements for this one, because many people believe down deep inside that the ego is a little devil sitting on their shoulder, sabotaging them. But this is not the case. We know that the word ego is the Greek word for I or me, and this is exactly what the ego is. It is me, it is I, it is who I am, it is my earth personality. When a soul decides to come to earth to experience the physical realms, because there are other realms as well, but the physical realms require a physical body and an ego, what many of us call an earth personality. Non-physical realms don't require these things, and that way you can be pure soul. So the ego is your earth personality. It is who you are. It is not something that works against you. You work against you many times, sometimes out of pure ignorance, which is not a problem, because when we don't know, we learn. We look, we search, and we learn more. But sometimes we work against us out of hope. The hope that this time it will work the way I want it to work, even though we have proof to the contrary, even though it has not worked the past 100 times, we still hope. That is us sabotaging ourselves. That's not something outside of us. Yes, it's the ego, but we are the ego. Now, why do we separate the ego from ourselves? Because we need someone to blame. Because we don't like taking responsibility for our actions. So we separate ourselves from this thing we call ego. We separate ourselves from ourselves, really. And we blame the ego. We put the blame on someone else or something else. This is the biggest reason why we separate the ego from us. It's kind of an oxymoron, actually, because you cannot separate the ego from you. You are the ego. There's many schools of thought that say the ego is bad, work from the soul. If you can accomplish that, I would say good luck to you. I really don't believe you can accomplish this because, as we said earlier, you are the ego. And I hear many people saying, I just want to work from soul. I just want to speak from soul. In that case, honey, drop dead and go back to being just a soul. And then you work from soul. So I would say do yourself a favor and make peace with yourself. Start liking yourself. There is nothing wrong with you or your ego. Absolutely nothing. Start liking yourself. This will bring more soul inside the body, and then you can talk from soul as well. You can express soul as well as yourself, as your ego. I'm separating the ego in some sentences only because people are so used to the ego being separate from themselves, but it isn't. Let's see. Is the ego a separate entity that works against us, against something in us? No, it doesn't work against anything in us. No. Let me go to a couple of stories. They are extreme stories, and they will sound judgmental, but that's okay. Many times you'll have... Okay, I have to go to the details. I travel in many centers for this work, and I meet many healers, and with most healers we exchange sessions. But sometimes some of us are simply not interested in what the other person is offering, or they are offering something we did many years ago. We don't need it right now. So sometimes I'm getting asked, would you like a session by another healer? And I would say something like, no, I'm okay, thank you. Some of them get so upset that right away they say, this is the ego talking. So, these are silly things. Don't go there. It makes you look silly. This is me talking. I am the ego. My ego. Let's see. I thought I would have more for this subject, but I don't. I would say, make peace with yourself. In the beginning, when I got into these metaphysical or new agey things, I heard about separate yourself from the ego and so on. And I remember saying, no, I like my ego. I like me. I'm not separating me from me. And everything went well. So I would recommend, you cannot tell someone what to do, but I would recommend you do something similar. Make peace with you. Make peace with who you are, and then you'll have no problems with what we call the ego, which is you. Then you will have no problems with you. I know I keep repeating myself, but that's it. I will leave it at this.